Now, first and foremost, this is a big thank you for all my watchers and supporters and subscribers. Without you, I wouldn't be here doing this. Just past 500. Thank you very much for those who have been subscribed this whole time, and then those who have just subscribed. Now, be sure that if you're watching this, you are subscribed, because a couple people have stated to me that they were, and then for some reason they lost all their subscriptions or part of their subscriptions, and they'd come back and resubscribe. So be sure to do that. But first part, this is a big thank you. Thank you all. I appreciate it. And also I want to give a little update, because I try to stick more to the hot rods and the muscle cars and all that, like working on the Pro Street, some of the other stuff. But between working a full-time job still with some overtime and the weather has been around here, it does kind of get hard to do. Now, for the basic mechanics, that is stuff that's a little bit simpler, quicker, and it's got to be done. Like the Grand Am, there's a lot of videos on it, because it's kind of almost turned out to be a little bit of a lemon of a car that we bought. So I'm having to fix a lot of stuff on it in order to keep it a good daily driver for the wife. So that's kind of like priority. You got to make sure it's reliable, dependable, and economic for her to drive. Now, some of these projects, we're getting close to the 80 model. Now, I was going to rebuild the rear end today in it, but it's getting extremely hot. The heat index is going to be 106, 107 today, and it's just going to get hotter. Now, earlier in the year, we had a lot of rain, couldn't do anything because I'm a shade tree mechanic. I do have this one carport, but it houses two of my most treasured vehicles, and I don't want them out in the weather too much, so they stay there. I shade tree everything else, but the weather is just so horrible lately that it's creating an unfortunate amount of downtime, more than I'd like, because I've been on this project longer than I was hoping to be. And as far as those projects go, there's also a reason why I'm not tearing into them, like my 81 C10 known as the Wraith, the L Tempest, my 68 GTO, and putting a motor in the 64 GTO, is due to the fact we're also looking at moving, trying to find a place with a little more land where I can either have a shop or build one. So I really don't want to get down into tearing those cars down, then end up moving while I got them torn down, and it's just easier to move them together than tear them down now. So that's part of the reason why I'm not working on those as much, but I will get back to those, and we'll be doing more footage hopefully in the near future. Now, I said the 80 model, all we got left on it is basically rebuild the rear end. I got to get the right speedometer gear in the transmission so we can have an accurate speedometer, because that's something I like to have. Now, when I got this truck, they took all that out, didn't have a speedometer, just had 4 simple gauges and a tach. But we're going to a street truck on this, so that's why I've gone the route I have on it. The Wraith was my first truck. It's an 81 C10. I started driving it at 14, and it got T-boned about 5 years ago, and me and my dad had built a motor for it and everything, and now I'm rebuilding it, going the direction I wanted to it this time, the way I always wanted to do it, which I couldn't because it's a daily driver, so I was always driving it. But now with it like this, I get the frame fixed, the body fixed, now I can build it ground up the way I've always wanted to. The 68 GTO, it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a Pro Street car, and that's why I'm waiting for a shop in order to tear it down and disassemble everything where I can do it right. The L Tempest is the same way. There's a lot I got to do to it, and I'm going to wait till I move in order to tear it down and redo it exactly the way I want. And then there's a transitional nightmare, which has not been seen very often. It was the wife's truck. She's kind of grown tired of it, so we're going to finish it up real quick and see what happens from there. And it's a 454 Turbo 400 short bed truck. It's a fun little truck, but it still needs a little work here and there. It's not too far off, so it's in the shape where we can go ahead and start working on it without having to tear it completely down, like the L Tempest, the Wraith, and the 68 GTO. And as far as 64 GTO needing another motor, thought I had the problem fixed, and it came back. And the plan on it was to use the factory 400 out of my 68 GTO, rebuild it because it's an HO motor, and put it in 64 and kind of make it look stock, but at least enough to at least cruise the 64. So that's the plans coming up. Of course, there's always basic mechanics between working on families, vehicles, and all that I have coming up as well. There's 2 local events I'm going to try to get y'all footage of, because it's going to be pretty fun. The first one's coming up is in Oklahoma. There should be a bunch of 405 guys and a bunch of 918 guys there. And it's small town Oklahoma. They're shutting down an area, and they're having what they're calling street legal drag racing. It's an all-day event, so I'm going to try and get a bunch of footage for y'all. And then at the end of the month, there's a cruise night coming up with a burnout contest, so we're going to see how that goes. Hopefully it'll be fun and entertaining like the Muldrow cruise that we went to last year, which that will be coming up, I believe, in August, which that was a fun one, so we got that to look forward to as well. So there's still plenty of stuff coming along, still got more to do, and we're just going to keep working on projects this whole time. So again, thank you very much for watching and subscribing. And thanks for being around and being part of the channel. And as always, thanks for watching.